The case of cotton is an important one, and in full disclosure, I spent years, it's over now, as a consultant to a U.S. law firm that worked for the Brazilian cotton farmers and then the Brazilian government, suing the U.S. in the WTO over precisely what you're talking about, Russ, which was the claim that U.S. cotton subsidies were big enough, they stimulated U.S. cotton production enough to drive down world cotton prices enough that it reduced the revenue opportunities for Brazilian cotton farmers. The U.S. government lost that case. They lost on appeal. They lost the second time. They lost that one on appeal. Finally, the U.S. government said, gee, we want to keep our cotton program. So for about 5 years, you and I as taxpayers paid Brazilian cotton farmers about $150 million a year just to keep quiet, sort of WTO hush money. And finally, we settled that case here earlier this year, this fall, where Brazil said for a final payment, we'll not bring another case. So there's a case
we all remember
where it was actually adjudicated, and at least various panels of WTO, what were considered impartial judges, said the U.S. subsidies really were. Now, cotton was a bit special because the U.S. won. When that case started, cotton farmers in the U.S. were getting half their revenue in the form of checks from the federal government. So they were guaranteed prices. If you put it on a price guarantee basis, the world price was at 35 cents and U.S. farmers were getting the equivalent of 70 cents, which was enough to keep a lot of land in cotton that might not otherwise have grown cotton. And secondly, the U.S. was at that time by far the biggest exporter of cotton into the world market. And cotton was the kind of cotton we're talking about here is a pretty homogeneous product, so there was a pretty good argument to say that it drove down the world price.